The United Kingdom, commonly referred to as the UK, is made up of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom is considered a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system of governance. The monarch, of course, is Queen Elizabeth II, and she's reigned since the 6th of February 1952, and the capital city of the United Kingdom is London. The origins of the United Kingdom can be traced back to the time of the Anglo-Saxon king Athelstan, and early on in the 10th century he managed to get the allegiance of neighboring Celtic kingdoms, and that's when he began to rule over several kingdoms that previously before several kings used to share amongst themselves. The United Kingdom is the most recent of the sovereign states that have been established by Great Britain. A treaty was signed in 1707 that united England and Scotland, and that became a unified kingdom of Great Britain. Great Britain then merged together with the Kingdom of Ireland, which had gradually been brought under English control for some time. And finally they formed the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland in 1801. Now the name United Kingdom and Great Britain continued for some time, but in 1927 it was changed to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This was because of the partition of Ireland. Ireland was divided into 2 separate jurisdictions, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland in the south. And that's when it became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So as the name suggests, the United Kingdom is made up of several kingdoms, as we just saw. But how can the United Kingdom be a country and at the same time be made up of other countries? Well, you see, the confusion happens because of the use of the word country. Let me explain. While the 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom are considered separate in the minds of the local people, as well as in certain sporting events, their powers for local law and control are actually devolved from the UK. In other words, the United Kingdom delegates the amount of control that these countries have. Think of it like the United States. Okay, so all of the 50 states have their own separate state laws. However, they all have to answer to the federal government of the United States of America. Except in the United Kingdom's case, the countries, or the states if you will, they're identified as distinct national entities. Therefore, that's why the term country is used. However, of the 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom, England is the only country that doesn't devolve any powers from the UK. Instead, England actually operates directly under the UK government. This is also emphasized in the fact that London is the capital of England as well as it's the capital of the United Kingdom. The term Great Britain refers to the large island that is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. More confusion happens now because the United Kingdom and Britain are commonly used as synonyms around other parts of the world. But to make sure that you remember this a lot easier and to keep it simple, just remember this following breakdown. We have the UK. The UK is a country that's made up of the following countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Great Britain, on the other hand, is only the body of land that makes up England, Scotland, and Wales. England is just the part of the body of land that the country of England occupies. In using the term British, it can refer to anywhere in the UK. British people, or Britons, are citizens of the United Kingdom, the British Overseas Territories, and the Crown Dependencies in the Irish Sea and the Bailiwicks of Jersey. So I hope that brings a lot more clarification of what the United Kingdom actually is and clarify what it means when people say Great Britain versus the United Kingdom. Yeah, life and geography and history can get a little bit tricky, but that's why you have us here at FTD Facts. So that first part was really technical, so let's move on to some fun facts of the United Kingdom now. Did you know that at its peak in the 18th century, the British Empire stretched across 20% of the world's surface? And at the time, it contained a quarter of the world's total population. The Windsor Castle is the largest royal home in the world, as well as it's the oldest continually inhabited royal residence in Britain. It was built by William the Conqueror around AD 1080. Back in 2001, the British Foreign Secretary Robin Cook declared chicken tikka masala is now a true British national dish, not only because it's the most popular, but because it's a perfect illustration of the way Britain absorbs and adopts external influences. So yeah, that's Britain's national dish, not tea and crumpets like some of you guys thought. The national anthem for the United Kingdom is called God Save the Queen.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our
that is because currently right now there is a queen as the monarch. Now when the ruling monarch is a man, the lyrics change to God Save the King. Okay guys, so you see this clock right here? That's known as the Big Ben, right? The Big Ben only refers to the bell on the clock.
This is Big Ben. It's a bell weighing 13.5 tons.
Big Ben is a nickname for the great bell of the clock at the north end of the palace in Westminster in London. Big Ben is often used to identify the whole entire clock anyways, but in reality, Big Ben is just the bell, guys. Britain is pretty unusual in the sense that it has an unwritten constitution. Now, what does that even mean? Unlike a large majority of the countries on the earth, there's no single legal document that sets out all the fundamental laws on how Britain should work. It's been suggested that the British Constitution can be summed up in these 8 words, and I quote, "What the Queen in Parliament enacts is law." That means that Parliament, using the power of the Queen, when they enact a law, no one else can change that. Now, at number 10, the question is, who is next in line? That's a question that everybody is asking, especially at the time of recording this episode. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II at the age of 96 means that her eldest son, Charles, Prince of Wales, is the new British king. She passed away at Balmoral Castle, which was her summer residence in Scotland, and prior to her Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth, she expressed her sincere wish that Charles's wife Camilla be known as Queen Consort when Charles ascended to the throne. This tied up some loose ends that existed ever since Charles's divorce from Princess Diana back in the day, and because she is not a member of the royal family by blood, Camilla has no claim to the throne at all and will not become queen if Charles either passes away or steps down. The next in line from there would be Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, who is the firstborn of Charles and Princess Diana. Now, at number 9, it's a very surprising fact. It's about an intruder that broke into her room. His name is Michael Fagan, and he's actually pretty popular now. I guess a lot of people know him, but he claims to have broken into Buckingham Palace on 2 occasions. The first time was on June 7th, 1982, after his wife had left him, and during the second break-in, which took place on July 9th, 1982, Fagan entered in a similar way, and he made his way toward Queen Elizabeth's bedroom. Fagan, he opened the curtain in her bedroom around 7:15 a.m. and the Queen woke up and pressed her night alarm bell, but unfortunately the night staff had gone off duty. But finally authorities arrived and they removed Fagan from the premises, and luckily he was out to kind of play a prank more so than to cause any harm, or else that would have ended very badly for the Queen. Now for fact number 8, did you know that Queen Elizabeth II was not born in a palace? Queen Elizabeth II was actually born on April 21st, 1962. Although she was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York and the eldest granddaughter of King George V, she was not born in a palace. Instead, she was born at 17 Bruton Street in the Mayfair neighborhood in London, in a townhouse that belonged to her Scottish maternal grandparents. And this house was actually demolished back in the year 1937, and there is now an office building as well as a Chinese restaurant on the site where the house used to be. Also, did you know that the Queen made history in the British military? The future Queen Elizabeth II assumed an active role during the Second World War. In 1945, she joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service as a second subaltern and learned to drive and service vehicles. She became the first female member of the royal family to join the armed services as a full-time active member. Just one of the records that she broke during her lifetime. Now for number 6, she's devoted to public service. Back in the year 1947, the future Queen Elizabeth II participated in her first overseas tour, traveling to South Africa and what is now Zimbabwe. She traveled with her parents and her younger sister, Princess Margaret, and Princess Elizabeth, as she was titled at the time, celebrated her 21st birthday during the tour. In a radio broadcast from Cape Town, South Africa, she committed herself to a lifetime of public service devoted to the Commonwealth. And she stated this, and I quote, I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. And of course, her life was definitely a long one. 96 years old, many people don't even make it close to that age. At number 5, Queen Elizabeth II was actually homeschooled. And this was pretty common, like many other royals of her time as well as before her time. Elizabeth, she never went to a public school and was never exposed to other students. Instead, she was educated at home with her younger sister, Margaret. Her father taught her along with a senior teacher at Eton College, as well as several French and Belgian governesses who taught her French, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, he taught her religion. Elizabeth's schooling also included learning how to ride a horse, as well as swim and dance, and studying fine art and music. Now, for fact number 4, this is a pretty interesting one and also a little confusing. So, Queen Elizabeth II, she was born on April 21st, 1926, but it was sometimes confusing for the public to know when to celebrate her birthday. There was no actual anniversary that was fixed for her official birthday. It's either celebrated on the 1st, 2nd, or the 3rd Saturday in June and was decided by the government. Now, over in Australia, her birthday was celebrated on the 2nd Monday of June, and while in Canada, it was marked on a Monday either on or before May 21st, which is known as Queen Victoria's Day or Queen Victoria's birthday. Only the Queen herself and those closest to her celebrated her birthday on the actual birthday in private gatherings. I really don't know the reason behind all of that, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. In at the number 3 spot, there's 2,500 wedding gifts to talk about. Well, not literally, but let's take a look. After the engagement of Princess Elizabeth to Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten was announced on July 9th, 1947, invited wedding guests and members of the public sent gifts to celebrate the occasion. Canadian Prime Minister William Lyon Mackenzie King sent antique silverware and a mink coat as the official wedding gifts from Canada. Now, since food and clothing rationing was still in force in the United Kingdom after the Second World War, members of the public around the world sent canned food, which was then redistributed to people who needed it, as well as nylon stockings were sent. And yeah, total of 2,500 different wedding gifts were sent. Queen Elizabeth II also had a very long marriage. Her husband, Prince Philip, as well as her, they enjoyed a stable relationship for 73 years, and it's a union that far outlasted the marriage of 3 of her 4 children, Charles, Anne, and Andrew. Elizabeth and Philip were married at Westminster Abbey in London on November 20th, 1947, and the Queen and Prince Philip were married until Philip's passing on April 9th, 2021. Their story begins all the way back in 1939 when Prince Philip of Greece, an 18-year-old naval cadet, was detailed to entertain the 13-year-old Elizabeth for a day. That was literally their first encounter together. Then several years later, Philip was invited to join the royal family at Windsor Castle at Christmas, and then he soon started making some inquiries about whether or not he would be an eligible suitor for her, and yeah, the rest is history. Now, ending off at number 1, the longest reigning British monarch. Elizabeth was the oldest and longest reigning monarch in British history. In September 2015, she surpassed her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria, who reigned for 63 years and 7 months. In 2016, Elizabeth then became the longest reigning monarch in the world with the death of King Bhumibol Adulyadej of Thailand. And in the year 2022, she became the second longest reigning monarch in world history, behind the 17th century French king Louis XIV, who took the throne at the age of 4 years old. Apart from Elizabeth and Victoria, only 4 other monarchs in all of British history have reigned for 50 or more years. First one was George III at 59 years, then there was Henry III at 56 years, Edward III at 50 years, and James VI of Scotland at 58 years. So it looks like you can't have the first in your name, or you can't be the first. You have to be the second, the third, or the fourth if you want a really, really, really long reign as a British monarch.
So a very surprising fact about this couple is that they actually met each other on a blind date. In their engagement interview, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle revealed that they didn't know a single thing about the other before their first date. Royal expert Katie Nicole revealed that Harry had seen his future wife on Suits and then described her as his ideal girl when asked what he was looking for in a woman. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry disclosed in their official engagement interview that they were set up by a mutual friend on a blind date. The friend is reported to be Harry's childhood friend Violet Vaughn Weston-Halls, who does PR for Ralph Lauren, which is how she met and became friends with Meghan. When reported matchmaker Violet first approached Meghan about setting her up with a royal, Meghan only wanted to know one thing: was he nice? But Meghan and Harry have yet to confirm their matchmaker's identity. While posing for their official engagement photos in November 2017, Prince Harry told photographers that he knew Meghan was the one the very first time we met. This is honestly so sweet, but it just makes me wonder, where are my friends and why are they not setting me up with a prince on a blind date? Ladies, please help your girl out. Speaking of knowing she was the one from the very beginning, it is reported that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle actually fell in love on a camping trip in Africa, which was their third date. But they were actually secretly dating for about 6 months. Prince Harry knew it would be hard to continue to get to know Meghan Markle under the media's magnifying glass, so he whisked her away to Africa where the two fell in love on a camping trip under the stars. How freaking romantic. After only 2 dates and then going effectively on holiday together in the middle of nowhere in Botswana, it was amazing to get to know her as quickly as I did, Harry said during their engagement interview. Before they were engaged, Meghan Markle spoke their relationship to Vanity Fair and said, "I can tell you that at the end of the day, I think it's really simple. We're two people who are really happy and in love." She says, "We were very quietly dating for about 6 months before it became news, and I was working during that whole time, and the only thing that changed was people's perception. Nothing about me changed. I'm still the same person that I am, and I've never defined myself by my relationships." On the more unfortunate side of the relationship, it is said that Prince Harry was so concerned for Meghan Markle's safety that he released a plea to the media a few months into their relationship. Prince Harry started to worry about Meghan Markle's safety just months into their relationship when photographers began to flood Markle's mother's door. He then released an official plea to the media via Kensington Palace, something very rarely done by royal family. Prince Harry is worried about Miss Markle's safety and deeply disappointed that he has not been able to protect her. It is not right that after a few months into a relationship with him that Miss Markle should be subjected to such a storm. He knows commentators will say this is the price she has to pay and that this is all part of the game. He strongly disagrees. This is not a game, it is her life and his. Aww. Okay, the next fact makes me want to laugh but also cry because of cuteness overload. During their engagement announcement video, Prince Harry spilled the details of how he proposed to Meghan Markle. Harry described a cozy night in their cottage and that he and Meghan were just enjoying each other's company in their home while baking a chicken when Harry got down on one knee. Prince Harry proposed to Meghan Markle back in November 2017. Prior to her official engagement to Prince Harry in November 2017, though, Meghan Markle started wearing a tribute to her fiancé-to-be in April 2017. TMZ acquired photos of the Duchess wearing a minimalist gold ring with an H initial while leaving a yoga class in Toronto. She wore the H band on her index finger, but it was definitely a precursor to bigger things to come. Guys, if this isn't the kind of love I get to experience in life, then I don't want it. Although many people think that any woman who marries a prince becomes a princess by default, that's not actually how the monarchy works. Just don't tell Disney. Instead of becoming a princess, Meghan became the Duchess of Sussex, rather than Princess Meghan. The reason for that is simply that a commoner marrying royalty cannot be a princess. Only a woman of royal blood can gain the title princess through marrying a prince. Another surprising fact that most people don't know about this couple is that they couldn't have been married before 2015. Since the days of Henry VIII, religion and the crown have been closely linked in England. The monarch is also the head of the Church of England. This meant that royal protocol used to demand that anyone in line to the throne marry a fellow Anglican, with Catholics strictly prohibited. However, a 2015 amendment to the Act of Settlement removed this requirement to allow royals to marry people of other faiths. This is good news for Meghan, whose religious background is complicated. Her father is Jewish, as is her ex-husband, and she has occasionally identified as Jewish in interviews. However, she has also talked about her Protestant mother and identified with that faith too. To make things even more complicated, she also went to Catholic school. Another rare thing for a royal is the fact that Harry married a woman older than himself. As of 2020, Meghan is 38 years old, while Harry is 35. This is not a huge age gap by any means, but it's certainly more common for royal men to marry younger women. However, Meghan is not the first in this situation. Instead, that prize goes to Eleanor of Aquitaine, who was 11 years older than Henry II of England. 200 years later, Edward the Black Prince married Joanne of Kent, who was 2 years his senior. Edward's son, Richard II, also married an older woman, as did Edward IV, who married Elizabeth Woodville in 1464. Similarly, Henry VIII's first wife, Catherine of Aragon, was also older than him. And then 200 years later, Queen Caroline of Ansbach was only a few months older than her husband. Kate Middleton is also a few months older than William. However, Meghan with her 3 years represents the biggest age gap in line to the throne in nearly 2 centuries. Meghan has been flashing a gorgeous rock since the announcement, but it's more than just a pretty diamond. Before the two became officially engaged, some thought that Harry might propose with one of the Queen Mother's rings, but it turns out that he made his own custom-made ring. The new ring features one large diamond with 2 smaller diamonds on either side, and, well, there's a story to them. The central diamond is from Botswana, an area that means a lot to both of them from their charity work, and the 2 smaller ones are from Diana's jewelry collection. Harry said that he made the choice to include her diamonds to make sure that she's with us on this crazy journey together. That's so sweet. Long before Meghan Markle said "I do" to Prince Harry, she was married to a film producer and talent manager in Los Angeles named Trevor Engelson. They reportedly started dating back in 2004, and after 7 years of being together, Markle and Engelson tied the knot in a casual ceremony on September 10, 2011 at the Jamaica Inn in Ocho Rios. However, just 2 years after getting married, Markle and Engelson quietly separated in August of 2013. It's unclear why they got divorced, but clearly she's since moved on, and so has he. Engelson reportedly got married to his fiancée Tracy Kurland in California. Last but certainly not least is the recent announcement that the couple has made in January of 2020. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have announced that they will step back as senior royals and work to become financially independent. In a statement, Prince Harry and Meghan also said they plan to split their time between the UK and North America. The BBC understands no other royal, including the Queen or Prince William, was consulted before the statement, and Buckingham Palace is, quote, disappointed. Last October, Prince Harry and Meghan publicly revealed their struggles under the media spotlight. In their unexpected statement on Wednesday, also posted on their Instagram page, the couple said they made the decision after many months of reflection and internal discussions. We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty the Queen. There are far more questions than answers. What will their new role be? Where will they live? And who will pay for it? What relationship will they have with the rest of the royal family? And there's of course the institutional question, what does this mean for the royal family?